Boys, I hate heights. I detest climbing ladders. It used to be I wasn't quite so bad at it as I am now, but as time has gone on, I've got to the point where I hate it more and more. I guess it's one of my fears. And in life, we have a tendency to do a number of things with fear. One thing we can do with it is to confront our fears, to get up there and to tackle the thing that we're frightened of. Another thing that we can do is try to avoid it, to get somebody else to climb the ladder, to get somebody else to do that. Or maybe we would seek to just ignore the fact that there's anything to be worried about in the first place. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing regarding the coronavirus at the minute. At the first, whenever there was all the information on the TV about it, at the first, whenever we heard about how it's coming into the UK and into Northern Ireland, it was something that frightened a lot of people and made a lot of people think about what really matters. But as time has gone on, they've filled their days with other things. They've got busy with doing the cleaning in the house, the gardening outside. They've got busy, perhaps, clapping their hands on a Thursday night for the NHS. Or they've got busy with Netflix and watching so many different series on television. It is possible for us to fill our days with so many of these things that we actually ignore the bigger questions, the things that are actually important for us to consider. As one who grew up through the Troubles in Belfast, I can remember what it was like to never be sure if you would come home the same day that you headed out. You weren't terribly sure if you were going to be caught up in a bomb blast or if it was possible for somebody with an Armalite to shoot you down. And I suppose during the Troubles we learned to cope with those fears in different ways. There was a particular humour that seemed to be created around those times. And I think we all do this. We try to put off thinking about the real questions, the important matters of life. In Luke chapter 12, we read this story about the rich farmer. He has had a bountiful harvest, and instantly he says to himself, "What shall I do? I will tear down my barns, and I will build bigger ones, and I will fill them up, and I will say to myself, 'Soul, you have done well. Now eat, drink, and be merry.'" But God had something to say about that. For this man who looked at what was a small problem in many ways, the problem that his barns weren't big enough, for him to have thought only about himself, God has something to say to him. He says, "You fool, tonight your very soul will be demanded of you. Then whose will all those things be?" You see, we are foolish if we ignore the bigger questions of life. We are foolish if we fill our days with so many other distractions so that we don't have to think about what really matters. And that is where we will spend eternity and what we have done with Jesus Christ. So let me ask you today, where are you concentrating your attention at this time? Are you thinking about God? Are you preparing for eternity? Or are you trying to fill your days with so many other things that you don't have to think about what really, truly matters the most?